I'm going to do a video on this table 1, and actually this is the figure 1, and then the table 1 that has more details of this table, or this figure 1. So this is for the paper called The Complete DNA Sequence of Myxoma Virus from 1999, and this table shows what they say is the complete genome sequence, and this is showing the 159 proteins that are in this, that encode the proteins, the gene sequence that codes the proteins. So these are the ORFs, or the open reading frames. So we can see here, linear genomic map of Myxoma virus ORFs are indicated by differently colored rectangles corresponding to the following. And so this is interesting here. So they have 4 colors for categories that I don't know how they chose it, but the black category, the black colors are unknown. Right here's unknown. And then for the green ones, they say those proteins are for potential immunoregulatory or host range functions. I don't know what host range functions means. And then they also say it's potential, so I guess they have doubts about that sometimes. I don't know what that means. And then for the red ones, those are called housekeeping functions, like mRNA transcription translation. So I don't know how they determine that. And then for the yellow, those are for involved in morphogenesis or protein modification. And these are very general. I don't know how they determine that. So basically, it's just 3 categories, because the black one is unknown. And to me, it's the analogy that I can think of is, when you are a car company and you have to manufacture a certain model car for a certain year, you have to find all the parts for that car. And let's say that those parts are in one warehouse. I mean, of course, it's not in one warehouse. Let's assume it's in one warehouse. And then we categorize everything into just 3 categories, like the structural parts. I guess everything would be structural then, except for the software. Although the software would come in embedded systems and chips and, software that is in memory somewhere. So it's still structural, but, we could still break it down to software or something like that. And then, I don't know, this immunoregulatory, I guess they're functional also, but they, because they say it's a virus, it disrupts the immune system of the host. So I don't know what would be the equivalent of that for cars. I don't know, say like the protection system, but those are still structural anyways. But so that's what else can I say about this? I don't really see much patterns, except like it seems like the green occur more at the ends here, and then the reds and yellows maybe occur more in the middle. Okay, so now let's go to the table. So I have to change this view. So this is the table that shows all the genes, the proteins from that chart. So and they kind of number it or code it in this way. It just goes in sequential order, sort of, and it tells you how long the proteins are. This is 72 amino acids long, and so you multiply that by 3 to get you the the length of the nucleotide. So 72 times 3 is 216. And so you see that matches up here because, this is 216. So it just goes from one end to the other, to the very last end, bottom over here. So they say it's 160 thousand base pairs long. I guess they're not including the ends, the terminal repeats, inverter repeats. So let's go back here, and so I've highlighted some things that I had questions about. So for all these highlights, the ORFs, they don't have any idea of what the function is or the structure of the proteins. So you see all these, like this one, they don't understand what it is. But this was back in 1999, so it could be that since then they've come up with better ideas. But I'm just giving you a sense of what's going on. So like this one, it's unknown. And then, let's see, so the relevant matches or homologs. This SPV is simian poxvirus. And so, for some reason, this Myxoma protein has a match with a totally different virus. And then it has a match with human protein, human ankyrin, and a bovine plasminogen activator inhibitor. There's a homolog with a mouse. A lot of SPVs here. VAC, I don't remember what that was exactly, but it's in the bottom legend. Let's see, yeah, and you see here there's a whole bunch of matches with this VAC. It's all sequential also, all in a row. Lumpy skin disease virus, that's an interesting one, right? And here I noticed that this is all in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whereas some of these other ones didn't seem like it was in that kind of order. So it goes from 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. I guess they must have inserted this one. 1, 2. Well, it's in somewhat of an order, I guess. But how they determine that, I don't know. I'm just trying to get a sense of what's going on here. Yeah, this one's out of sequence here. So it goes from 6 to 5, 7. No hits. So I didn't know what that meant. Mouse. This is a crested goshawk. More human stuff. Herpes virus. There's a beet. So you would think that since this is a Myxoma virus, it would correlate more with other viruses and not necessarily some of these other random species. Let me see what the VAC stands for. VAC is vaccinia virus. So, I don't know much about that, but it sounds like vaccines. Okay, so let's go back to this column here. Putative function and structure. non-essential, EEV maturation. It's a component. See, and what I'm trying to point out with these highlights is that it's not very specific. Like the analogy with the car warehouse, you sort of have to be very specific, right? Like if you have a rear view mirror, it has to say the left hand and the right hand, and the specification for that mirror has to be perfect for that model car, the way they designed it. But in genetics or virology, they can say, well, it's an essential gene, right? It's a core protein. What does that mean? If I said I need the core part for the door, because a door has so many parts to it, a bunch of screws and rubber and glues and stickers and all these parts, but a Myxoma virus just needs 159 genes, and it's these types of genes. It just seems like it's random. It's a structural protein. Oh, what does that mean? What if you went to a car warehouse and you said, I need the structural frame? What does that mean? You have to tell me what you're looking for. It's a major core protein. It's virulence factor. Oh, wow. So it's a factor in the virulence. Well, in what way? I mean, this is just so general. And of course, we have to admit that when you get to these levels where you can't see anything, then yeah, it's going to be nebulous like that. So just admit that instead of trying to, create this list here and act like you got everything figured out. See, it's essential. It's immunodominant. What the hell does that mean? It's a structural protein. Wow, this is very specific, right? 25K, whatever this is, like protein. So this protein looks like some other protein. Well, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of, you can have all kinds of numbers, and then something's going to be similar to a number somewhere. It's putative. Oh, wow, it's a putative protein that's 9,000, whatever base pairs long, or whatever this K means. It's a major core protein. This is a core protein. It's a precursor to something. Oh, really? Wow, things are precursors or postcursors. It's a virion protein. What does that mean? I mean, isn't this whole thing a virion? It's a structural protein again. A receptor-like protein. Yeah, I mean, it's either a receptor or it's inside the virus. It's going to be, I assume it's going to be like a sphere. If it's not a sphere, then it's linear, but if it's linear, there's still something, there's an inside and outside, so the outside is going to have receptors, and then it's going to be a fragment. I mean, everything's a fragment. I mean, it's like saying that car part is a fragment. Well, every car part's a fragment. This looks like this precursor. Putative, we're guessing. This looks like it. Surface glycoprotein. See, again, I mean, glycoprotein pretty much covers everything, right? It's a protein that has some sugars. Well, that's pretty much everything. And it's either going to be on the surface or inside the thing. Non-essential. And chiron-like. Non-essential. There's some herpes virus stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. All right, thanks.